Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Woke Societies. This is Scott, your host, bringing in the live stream on a Tuesday night here in New York. And isn't that such a beautiful picture of Joe Biden there sitting behind a mailbox that's on fire with a police car that's on fire? Isn't it so suiting? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pumped up. I love this music. I love this music. And I hope you guys love it too. Thank you all for coming in tonight. Everyone's rushing in now. We're already up to 700 viewers on YouTube. And I am so excited. I'm really excited because we're streaming on Periscope. We're streaming on DLive. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on Twitch. And you know where else we're streaming, guys? We have done it. The team over at pill.net, we are streaming on our own platform right now. A censor-free platform that is completely cut away from big tech. We are streaming right now on all 5 platforms, including pill.net. And like I've been saying to you, to the guys on Pill, give yourselves a pat on the back. We're building a platform here that's going to hopefully be for the big-time creators that are in our movement in case, God forbid, something happens on YouTube. We are taking the fight to them. We are not waiting for Trump. We are not waiting for the government to step in. We are not waiting for them to give us a solution. We are carving our own path. We are being our own trailblazers, and that's really important to me. All right. We're going to let everyone come in just for a moment here. Give everybody just one more minute. If you guys can, hit that like button for me. Let everyone know. Let everyone know we are the news now. Like, share, subscribe, and let everyone know we are the news. And I've been saying this to everybody. I've absolutely enjoyed doing this channel. And you know what? I'm gonna save that just for a little bit. I've loved doing this, and because of you guys, I'm able to do this full time, and I am just grateful for all of you. And I just feel like I needed to say that. But we're going to be covering a lot of stuff today. But before we get into that, let's just hear a word from our sponsor, from the guys over at pill.net, shall we? Take a watch.
Please join pill.net today, a free, uncensored platform for sharing topics and truth. Please check out our new live streaming feature. It is dynamic, powerful, and comparable to Twitch and YouTube.
Here we go.
Use the hot filter to check out what's hot right now on pill.net. Alternatively, you can use the images and videos filter to check out just straight media. At pill.net, you can use hashtags to categorize your topics, such as hashtag Kids Lives Matter, which is a movement anyone can support. Use our commenting system to let others know your thoughts and opinions on their posts. With our topic creation tool, you can dynamically create topics with as many links or media as you like, and then embed them directly into your post. Or you can go live and tell the world exactly what you want to tell them, without the fear of being censored or banned. Join the fight for your freedom of speech today at pill.net.
Oh, that's beautiful. Guys, right now, you see them on the main screen. Pill.net, go down there right now and go to their platform and sign up for a free account. You don't have to spend any money on this, ladies and gentlemen. We are offering a brand new platform that is a social media platform mixed in with pretty much what YouTube is offering at this point. And it's only going to get better. Go over to pill.net and sign up for a free account. And all you need to do is give your email and a password. Nothing else. And if you don't even want to do that, you can be an anonymous user for that too. Go check them out on pill.net. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got some things to talk about tonight. We're going to be talking about these riots, the complete narrative shift with these riots, and we're going to be talking about General Flynn towards the end of the show and the debacle that's in all that. But did you guys see this? I want to know if you guys saw this here. Nancy Pelosi has been caught breaking Gavin Newsom's COVID rules. What? Hairdressers were banned from operating for 6 months in California. Pelosi was caught in a closed salon without wearing a mask. No way. Well, if you didn't believe the tweet, there's video evidence of this. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Nancy. Oh. It's hard to tell what she looks like when she doesn't put her face on. She might have been drunk there. Who knows? But there she is. Oh, Nancy Pelosi. This is going to be a fun one to explain to the country, Nancy. That's going to be a good one to explain to the country, Nancy. I don't know what else. I mean, you're out here spewing with your stupid mask on around your neck or your scarf, whatever the hell you do when you're on CNN spewing your bullshit. And you're telling everyone to wear a mask, and salons and spas are closed. People's businesses have been ruined, probably permanently. People have gone bankrupt. And here's Nancy walking around in a supposed already closed spa for herself, and she's walking around without a mask, while the people there that are taking care of her are wearing a mask. This is not, people. This was never, ever, ever about the pandemic. It was never about COVID. This was all about the election. This is all about power and class. That is it. That is it. And if that hasn't more displayed now, I don't know how else I can show it to you guys. Don't know how else it can be shown in such an obvious and hypocritical way. These people don't give a shit about us. They don't. They don't care. Still can't go to church. But Nancy, you can get your spa day. Oh, I love it. All right. We got 1,200 people here already. It's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. About 10 more seconds and we'll get this show on the road. I love the pre-show. I love setting the vibe. And I love it. I love setting that tone. And I'm glad you guys love the music as well. So Trump went and visited Kenosha, Wisconsin today. He visited them. He's giving the police support. He's giving them money. He's giving them resources. And he had a lot to say. So we're going to show a video from his journey that he went there today. Thank God nothing bad happened to him. Because for me, POTUS going anywhere right now for me is like walking eggshells because I live in a paranoid world in my head. And I just want him to be safe. We need this man to stay alive because that's literally all of our lives at this point. But he went to Kenosha, Wisconsin, and there was a video made about it. So I'm going to have you guys watch it too. And after the video and the intro, I'm going to come back and see you. So here we go. Take a watch.
Violent mobs demolished or damaged at least 25 businesses, burned down public buildings, and threw bricks at police officers. These are not acts of peaceful protest, but really domestic terror. Reckless, far-left politicians continue to push the destructive message that our nation and our law enforcement are oppressive or racist. They'll throw out any word. The vast and overwhelming majority of police officers are honorable, courageous, and devoted public servants. They're incredible. Actually, we must give far greater support to our law enforcement. It's all about giving them additional support. We have to condemn the dangerous anti-police rhetoric. My administration is restoring public safety. We're hiring more police, surging tough-on-crime federal prosecutors, increasing penalties for assaulting law enforcement, and for dismantling Antifa. We're here to show our support for Kenosha and Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin, and we're here for you all the way. We're all in this together.
We back the blue on this channel, and we back our police on this channel. Are you guys ready? Let's get this show started.
Thanks for tuning in to the land of the real. But it's like the Twilight Zone, the plan is surreal. It'll blow your mind when the plan is revealed. Bring it all to light, all the plans they conceal. Grab your flashlight, it's time to go down the rabbit hole. It's dark and hell is hot, dealing with satanic souls. The tide is turning, patriots are now in control. Apply aggressive pressure right now until they fold. Stay woke, open up your eyes and keep them peeled. All they do is lie, realize not everything is real. Through Project Looking Glass, the future is revealed. Future proves past, but there won't be any deals. Woke society's fam, you know it's time to go. Grab your popcorn, sit back now, enjoy the show. Severe and non on the mic, so come on, enjoy the flow. The wave is rising and you know it's only gonna grow.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm pumped up. I'm good to go. We're almost 1,500 viewers, guys. We're about to jump into the show right now. Thank you guys for joining. Hit that like button. Share this far and wide. Share it on all your social media accounts, everywhere you can go. Hey, Sookie. Nice to see you here, Sookie. All right. So where I want to start off today, we're going to be talking a lot about these riots because there's these stories need to be talked about because they're just not covered on the mainstream media, and not everyone has the full-time attention that can be put into all this. So this is where we're going to start today. We're going to start here from the post-millennial, talking about the man that took out the Trump supporter in Portland. He says, I am 100% Antifa. Alleged Portland shooter was previously arrested and released for bringing a legal loaded gun to a riot. So this, when I read that headline, it reminded me so much of New York and so much of these Democratic controlled cities in general. Before COVID was even a factor, these new bail laws, especially out here in New York and New York City, there was these new bail laws that were implemented literally where if you weren't killing people, you could get arrested, you would go inside, you get booked, and then you were literally let out the police precinct that same day. And the courts are hoping that these people show up for their court dates. And this is how they were doing. And this is before COVID. And then you throw COVID into it, and now they're just throwing people out of the prisons because that for them that was a solution. So this man here that killed this Trump supporter in Portland, he was already arrested on a prior charge for having an illegal loaded gun on his person. He was let go. He wasn't charged by any of the prosecutors in the state. And what did he do? He went and killed somebody. This blood, and this is why I'm going to show you a clip here while I am saying too, it's got to be getting close to the time to be sending these troops in. Because if you think this is going to stop here, it's not going to. But this blood is on a couple of people's hands. It's on the mainstream media's hands. And two, this is on Ted Wheeler's hands. This blood is on both of them. On both of them. The fact that he was actually arrested prior, he could have prevented this from happening. He could have absolutely prevented this from happening. And just to give you some more context of these people that are out here doing this, they're showing their kids doing this as well. This is from Andy No talking about this. Breaking: Antifa shooting suspect Michael Reinl, don't know if I'm getting that one right, was part of the Antifa protests outside of Ted Wheeler's condo the night before he killed Aaron J. Danielson. He brought his 11-year-old child who was armed with a bat. He was close with Antifa Black Bloc. And look at this. The apple does not fall far from the tree. And apparently this is his daughter here holding a bag of chips, which is kind of funny, and a baseball bat. And here's the guy that took out the guy Jay. This guy Jay here because he was simply wearing support for Trump, and he was assassinated in the middle of the street. Assassinated. And these people, this is the problem. It starts with people like this guy here, and then it goes to their kids, and then their kids are indoctrinated, and now their kids have this mindset of anti-America, let's burn the whole establishment down. This is why it's so dangerous. And right now, more than any generation, the generation, especially with his daughter right here, with TikTok and all these kids that are still asleep, but a lot of them are waking up, but a lot of them are just getting this information shoved down their throats. A lot of it's fake news, a lot of fake pictures, a lot of fake videos, and they're eating this stuff up, and it's warping their minds, and it's completely turning them against their own country. And that's what we're seeing right here. But the really sad story about all this was the testimony from this man here that was next to Jay when he was shot. He was right next to him. It could have been him as well. Apparently the guy shot him and ran. Now, he says it's his partner. Now, I don't know if that means he was in a relationship with him. It's his best friend. I have no idea. But either way, this person was very deeply connected to Jay. And we have the testimony here from Methods got it from YouTube here. And he says, man, that was with Jay Bishop in Portland when he was shot. Has a message for real Donald Trump. Send the troops. Let's listen to what he had to say about what happened.
So they identified our hats. We've got a couple of them right here. We've got a couple of them right here. Pull it out. Pull it out. And is that what they said? That's what they said. We turned around. It didn't even register that somebody was pointing a gun at us until the shots went off and took off running. The shooter took off running, and it takes a second for you to process everything that happened. Did he just shoot at me? Okay, I'm okay. Turn over, and Jay's dead. Because he believes something different than them. Jay's not a racist. He's not a xenophobe or whatever label. He's not an is or an ism. He's an independent man. He's a good man. He didn't do anything to earn a bullet in the chest.
If you could ask anything right now, Donald Trump, what would it be?
Send troops.
Send troops. He said if there's one thing that you could tell Donald Trump, he says send troops. And he says, my boy Jay here is not a racist, not a xenophobe. You notice he's listing all the main talking points the mainstream media puts out there. Do you see how much influence, as useless as they are, they still have major influence in this country? He's literally listing off. You can literally come up with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of headlines with talking about how Trump supporters are racist and xenophobes. And he says just because he believes something different than these people, he got a bullet in the chest. This is how far it's going. And the guy that shot his friend Jay, he had the black BLM fist tattooed to his neck. These people are all in with this ideology. They really are. And now there has now been blood spilled in the streets, and it's not like people haven't died already, because there have. It's probably up to like 30 deaths, I believe. I don't know the official number since these riots started, but that's just from the riots. That's not including all the violence that would regularly be going on in places like Chicago, when every weekend you're looking at 40 to 50 people getting shot, between 5 and 10 people dying every single weekend in Chicago alone. But you don't see anything about that in the news. That's been ignored. It's been ignored for decades. Those things aren't talked about. Those things have not been fixed. And of course, these things are happening in Democratic stronghold states. But he did say, send in the troops. And I believe Trump has waited now. We're going into 4 months of this in Portland. 4 months of this. And Ted Wheeler and the Democrats are now trying to switch their narratives and all that other stuff. And it's really bad. And there was something that came out from Andy No that I thought was really interesting that I didn't see many people talking about here as well. From Andy No on Twitter. Oregon Governor Brown announced in a new plan that to stop daily Portland riot violence, she requested nearby sheriffs from nearby towns to send in their deputies. However, both Washington and Clackamas County sheriffs have declined in signing these statements. Now, I thought that was odd. I'm like, okay, maybe their leaders are saying, because we don't want to get involved, we don't want to be seen as people against BLM, we're going to not do that. That's what I originally thought. Maybe this was the reason why they declined, but that wasn't it. That wasn't it at all. And this is pretty eye-opening. Andy No in this same tweet here. I have not seen any public official in Oregon speak so clearly and obviously about what's happening in Portland. Read this statement. So this is a statement from one of the sheriffs, and some of it's cut off, but I'm going to read it for you guys on the screen. So on Sunday, August 30th, I read that Governor Kate Brown announced a new plan to address the lawlessness happening in Portland. I was surprised to read that the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office was part of the plan, since the governor's office never even contacted me. So this plan was implemented, and these sheriffs weren't even asked about doing them at all. They were not notified by the governor's office, which means the communication and the leadership and the way that information is passed along to these people, there is a humongous disconnect. Look at look what Sheriff Roberts continued to say here. Had Governor Brown discussed her plan with my office, I would have told her it's about changing policy, not adding resources. Increasing law enforcement resources in Portland will not save the nightly violence now murder. The only way to make Portland safe again is to support a policy that holds offenders accountable for their destruction and violence. That will require the DA to charge offenders appropriately in a decision by the Multnomah County presiding judge, not to only allow offenders released on their own recognizance and instead require bail with conditions. The same offenders are arrested night after night, only to be released by the court and not charged but with a crime by the DA's office. The next night, they are back at it, endangering the lives of law enforcement and the community all over again. For all of us in law enforcement, keeping our community safe is our first priority. Had Governor Brown asked me, I would have told her that no amount of human resource will stop the cycle of violence, her term, that is making Portland unsafe. For that to occur, the criminal justice system will need to do its part and hold offenders accountable. And this is exactly, ladies and gentlemen, what I was just talking about. These people are getting arrested, they're bringing them in droves, and literally the next day they're allowed out, no charges, no consequences. Of course, these people are going to keep doing what they're doing, keep destroying buildings, keep hurting people, going after police, killing people that don't believe in what they believe in the streets, because there are no consequences, because the city is not enforcing them. And the sheriff is literally saying, listen, we could send you 500 more police and sheriffs. It's not going to stop anything, because once they're arrested, you let them back out. Why are the police, why would this encourage police officers to do their job knowing they arrest somebody and literally the next day, that same person could be in their car the next night anyways? What are you doing? What are you doing? So this is what's going on. This is what's going on out there. And it's not just happening in Portland. It happened in LA yesterday. And it seems like these riots, they're going to keep sprouting up. They're going to keep happening until the election, until stuff starts to get taken down here. And this is from Zero Hedge. There was another shooting yesterday in LA. In LA itself, it says they left his body face down in the dirt. Protesters surround LA Sheriff's Office after latest police killing of armed black man. And yesterday, Routers put this video up here that says protesters lay siege to sheriff's office. I watched this video. There wasn't much going on besides people yelling at the building. I didn't see much else come after this, but pretty much this man here was shot. Again, same MO. He was a criminal, had prior history. He was shot, and everyone's going crazy about it now. And now there are riots going on in LA. And there was something else that just really shook me when I heard this story. And this was barely covered by anybody that I saw, especially the mainstream media out in California. What I'm about to show you, ladies and gentlemen, is something that really, really scared me a little bit. Because everyone knows that the symbol is the fist, the big fist for BLM and Antifa, right? This communist fist that everyone's showing up, that people are walking around a restaurant telling people to raise up, and if you don't, you're the racist. Just insane stuff, right? Well, along with LA, with what I just showed you, over the weekend, there was protests out in Oakland, California as well. And there's about 700 people in this one. There wasn't, as far as I know, there wasn't any burning of buildings and anything going on like that. And to me, it's surprising because I thought of all the states, California would be part of the problem as far as the riots, but it looks like they're just getting their show started with all this. But what I'm about to show you here is something that really scared me, and the reason why I named the live stream tonight, Send in the Troops, because of what they are chanting in this here. Remember when Q said symbolism would be their downfall? If this isn't symbolism, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what is. Take a watch. Now, if you guys can't hear what they're chanting, you could obviously tell from the text and the tweet there. They are chanting death to America in the streets of America. You have supposed Americans, people that stand for this country. Actually, they're not. If you're out there in these droves screaming death to America, these people, it does not matter if you pretend to like them. They will come after you eventually. And we saw this with Ted Wheeler. These people, all they want is complete revolution and nothing else. We've seen the signs they've walked around in. They've masked it in BLM movements, and really it's Antifa. It's being funded. It's being funded on a mass scale. It's being completely funded on a mass scale. This is the infiltration that could be the death of our country if we didn't have the proper leadership. But thank God we have Donald Trump in office. Because if we didn't, I don't even know where we would have been with Hillary, with these people, in our country. I don't know if they would have just bowed to him and let them take over and completely infiltrate us and turning into a communist nation, which is essentially where this is going to lead to. People call us crazy when we talk about this, but when you find out from people who actually lived in communist countries saying that they're not fearful of this, they are familiar with this, that to me is scary, because people that have actually lived in a communist country saying, this looks very familiar to what I grew up with out in Cuba. This is not right. This is America. How is this happening here? Because it's been allowed to happen here. It's been allowed to fester here under the previous administrations for decades. And now it's coming to a head because now they have Trump the outsider in there shaking up everything and bringing the power back to the people and restoring a republic, hopefully. But the crazy thing is about all this, people have been asking, well, why the hell? Everyone knows these people are funded. Why aren't they going after these people and finding out who's funding them, how far this is going? But essentially, that is what's happening. This is from just the news. Feds have opened probe into funders, organizers of far-left violence. Homeland Chief says. And the Justice Department is investigating the funders and organizers of far-left violent riots that have rocked America's cities this summer, acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf says. Federal investigators are targeting and investigating the head of these organizations, the individuals that are paying for these individuals to move across the country. I wish that was in a little quicker fashion, Wolf added, while emphasizing this president is committed to holding individuals accountable. Wolf said he has talked with Attorney General William Barr about the probe, adding some individuals who have played a part in Portland's 4 months of rioting have moved on to other parts of the country to export the violence, which is exactly what happened with Kenosha. When people are getting arrested and the majority of them are out of state lines, that is a problem. Who is funding their hotels, their cars, their clothes, everything? We have seen them in D.C. and Sacramento and elsewhere. He said they are organized. We have seen similar tactics being used from Portland and other cities across the country as well. And there is another thing that I saw that I think it's the Indiana governor, the Republican governor out there. He is trying to pass a bill right now that any one of these rioters that are arrested, they are no longer eligible for unemployment benefits at all. They have no access to any money if they're arrested for doing any of these things, which I absolutely love because it's sticking it to them and there is some consequences. But that is the problem right now. There are no consequences in these Democratic run cities. They go in, they get processed, and they get sent right back out to cause carnage the next night. This is why it's been happening. And when you're organized and you have money to go behind it, you can do some damage. And think about it. To carry on riots for over 3 months, you have to have leadership, you have to have money, and you have to be organized. There is no way a bunch of 20-something-year-old kids are out here doing this on their own. There is no way that's happening. No way. And someone that weighed in on this was Senator Ron Paul, and everyone saw what happened to him and his wife, where they were mobbed. The 4 police officers were helping. They saved them. It was a great story. Pretty scary story. They ended up being okay. But Senator Ron Paul weighed in on this as well. And let's take a listen and see what he had to say.
That, but this also isn't normal. There's something going on here. This is like the FBI needs to be involved.
What do you mean something's going
racket.
on? Senator, what do you mean something's going on? You've got a feeling. Tell us what you think.
My feeling is that there is interstate criminal traffic being paid for across state lines, but you won't know it unless you arrest them. Otherwise, you just think, oh, these are some normal hoodlums from a big city. I promise you that at least some of the members and the people who attacked us were not from D.C. They flew here on a plane. They've all got fresh new clothes, and they were paid to be here. It is a crime to do that, and it needs to be traced. The FBI needs to investigate, but the only way you can do it is you have to arrest people. And usually we say, oh, well, you didn't get hurt, so we're not going to arrest them. They were inciting a riot, and they would have killed us had the police not been there. They all need to be arrested, and I'm not saying forever, but they need to be arrested, questioned. They need to say, where are you staying? And the bills need to be subpoenaed by a judge to say, who paid for your bill? How did you get here on a plane and staying in a fancy hotel, and yet you're acting like a criminal? That
all legitimate questions by Ron Paul here, and it's all the same questions that we all have been asking ourselves, and it seems like we're all on the same page. How is this happening? Well, it's being funded, and we all know that's probably end up going to go to George Soros out there. So that's where we're leaving off with that. But in my opinion, I think it's getting close to that time where Trump needs to send the troops and be done with this and just squash this and be done with it. And that's it. So let's transition gears here. I want to get to this narrative shift that I've been seeing, that I've been talking about on the show now for about 2 weeks. And it's absolutely hilarious to see the media try to switch narratives here. And this was tweeted here by Tim Pool. This says, beyond desperate, this is one of the most insane plays I've ever seen. And it's a screenshot here of the New York Times story that came out. I think this was yesterday. Biden condemned violence. I can't even get through without laughing. Why won't Trump? Only one candidate incites his supporters to mayhem. It's just disgusting. This is how far they're going. And I keep talking about how COVID is ultimately going to expose so many of these media companies and these Democrats. And it's just so funny to see the spin when Trump has been saying he is the president of law and order and completely denouncing all the violence and all these things for months. And they're acting like Joe Biden has been on top of this entire time. And I honestly believe, I was telling some of my followers yesterday, Joe Biden might not actually realize these riots and this looting have been happening. Knowing his cognitive decline at this point, would it really surprise you if he just found out or knew about these riots? It wouldn't surprise me at all. So Joe Biden might have a pass there. We'll give him that one. But the media wants to talk about all this BS. And one of the best ones I saw yesterday was from Kaylee, the press secretary. The media wants to talk about paintball guns while Trump supporters are being murdered in the streets of Portland. If you haven't seen this, you're going to see it right now. Take a watch.
Ask you about one of the president's other tweets this weekend. He took a video or retweeted a video of a caravan of people driving into Portland with Trump and American flags flying. He called them great patriots. What about that image does the president see as patriotic? And ostensibly you're talking about people going into a city in which they don't live, presumably to protect property they don't own. What's patriotic about that activity?
The president was highlighting that these were good Americans going in to peacefully be a part of a protest and show their voice. And, that's what he was noting by the tweet and highlighting the video, which he routinely does.
What about the video of them scuffling, shooting paintballs at people, getting in the mix with people? Is that patriotic activity?
I don't think the president's seen that video, nor have I. But if you're going to ask about paintballs, it's incredible that for 90 days I've stood at this podium talking about officers who have been lasers flashed in their eyes in an attempt to blind them, commercial-grade fireworks being thrown at them, a church right out here burning down, the people that were harassed and yelled at, Senator Rand Paul, Dan Bongino, right out here. And you're going to ask me about a paintball video when, in fact, for 90 days, we've seen horrific violence by Antifa, a radical anarchist organization. You're going to ask me about a paintball video I've yet to see, and neither is the...
Woo! She got him. She got him there, but she's absolutely right. She is 100% right. The media wants to talk about. I know the video too. It was one truck with some Trump flags on it in Portland, and these riders approached the truck. They started to gather around it. A couple guys in the back had paintball guns and some mace, and they shot these people and spray painted with some paint and hit them with some paintballs. That's what the media wants to talk about. They haven't even mentioned the guy that was shot on the streets in Portland. And the worst part about it, there was a Portland media outlet that got the Jay's name wrong, and they linked it up to an actual far-right group that had nothing to do with him, got the name wrong, and they retracted it a day later, but it painted him in such a negative way. But this is where we're going. We are the enemies to these people, and they don't care, and the media is all part of this, and there's, I don't know how many gallons of blood is on the media's hands at this point, because it's a lot. It's absolutely a lot. But in response to this, Trump also had something to weigh in on today, talking about the riots out in Portland, and again, talking about Joe Biden. He weighed in on this today. Let's take a watch and listen to what he had to say as well.
All they have to do is say, okay, President, now we're ready. Now we're ready. When I watched that scene last night with all of those really horrible people outside of the mayor's house, I also saw the way they shot the young gentleman in the street. He was targeted. They targeted him. They shot him in the street, and then they were so happy, and he died. You don't mention that. You mentioned somebody sprayed paint at somebody from the other side. They shot a man in the street. They executed a man in the street. A religious man in the street. And you don't mention it. It's not even a story. You talk about other things. The press should be ashamed of themselves. I think the press is actually, the media is what's fueling this, more so than even Biden, because Biden doesn't know he's alive. The press is really fueling this, and they're fueling it horribly, and you're doing a great disservice to your country.
Can you imagine Can you imagine being the press there? I'm not sure if the press people actually give a shit when he talks smack about them. I'm not sure if some of them probably don't. But imagine being the one of the camera crew or one of these media pundits that are always around the president. And you have this man look at you in the face and say, "You are doing more damage than the potential president, Joe Biden, and you're doing a disservice to your country." For me, that would haunt me for my entire life. But these people legit have like no souls. I don't think they care. But I couldn't imagine having the president look at me and say something like that, because they don't report on any of this stuff, and they don't report on any of the absolute hypocrisy, especially from Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, that were funding these people and getting all their millions of followers on Twitter and GoFundMes and whatever other funds they had to bail these people out. And now they're going to go out And now they're going out and retracting and saying, we need to stop this violence. And Joe Biden even had the balls to say that he wasn't aware of this violence until a week or two ago. That was his excuse. And I might actually believe that. Like I was saying before, this cognitive decline. But look at this here from Bubba Smollett. Love that Twitter handle, 6%. We'll get into that soon in a minute. In June, from Kamala Harris, tweet, if you're able to, chip in now to the MNF Freedom Fund to help post bail for those protesting on the ground in Minnesota. 2 months later here in August, Kamala, what changed? I joined Joe Biden in condemning this violence. This cannot and must not be who we are. Americans deserve a president who will heal our country and bring people together, not fan the flames of hate and division. This was truly a tweet from Kamala Harris. Now, I was able to find some people that Kamala Harris and this fund, this Minnesota Freedom Fund, bailed out. I got a list here, and it's from the Federalist. These are some of the people that she bailed out. So, behind door number 1, among those bailed out by the Minnesota Freedom Fund is a suspect who shot at police, a woman accused of killing a friend, and a twice convicted sex offender, according to court records reviewed by the Fox 9 investigators. Behind door number 2, according to attempted murder charges, Jaleel Stallings shot at members of a SWAT team during the riots in May. Police recovered a modified pistol that looks like an AK-47. MMF paid $75,000 in cash to get Stallings out of jail. Behind door number 3, Darnica Floyd is charged with second-degree murder for stabbing a friend to death. MMF paid $100,000 cash for her release. And last but not least, behind door number 4, Christopher Boswell, a twice convicted rapist, is currently charged with kidnapping, assault, sexual assault in 2 separate cases, and this fund paid a whopping $350,000 in cash for his release. This same money that, don't forget, the Hollywood and all these entertainers and musicians on their Twitter were getting all their followers to pay up money for these people. And this, you know what the sad part is for all the sports fans out there? I love football. I've always loved football. We're going to be seeing rapists, people that are sexually assault women. We're going to see these people's names on the back of their helmets. We've already seen it with the NBA with their uniforms. We're going to see rapists' names on the back of helmets on football. These same people that are being praised and let go for crimes, these people are criminals. The same thing with Blake Jacobs. He sexually assaulted the woman he was at the house. He was at the house. He was not supposed to be there. He sexually assaulted her. He already had raped her before. Took her keys, was not supposed to be there, and had a warrant out for him. This man's name is going to be on the back of these helmets and uniforms. These same people are the same people that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris got their supporters to gather around and to bail these people out. But all of a sudden, we're going to denounce this. And I have the reason why in just a moment. Well, let's watch a video here about how Kamala answers these questions here. Why are you bailing out riders now? Well, let's watch.
In San Francisco.
First, afternoon. So my point is, how do you define what you hear from?
I appreciate you being here on New Day.
Not everybody landed punches like you did, though. So you don't mean it.
It's called Candidate Mixtape. That was
Hip-hop. Cardi B.
Okay.
Everything's just fun and laughter with Kamala, with that disgusting face of hers, whatever the plastic that she got injected into her face. But dear God, and she's been asked this. So I want to hop over the chat real quick because I think we're getting close to 3,000 viewers already tonight, which is amazing. We're at 2830, you guys. Thank you so much for showing up tonight. It's always a good time. Hit the like button, share, comment, tell your friends and family about this channel. Let them know we are the news now. And guys, when you can, go to pill.net. It's a censor-free platform with live streaming now. It's a free account. Go sign up with them right now. You're going to love it. It's better than Parler. I can guarantee it. So speaking about Joe and Kamala Harris, I had to get this clip because everybody was talking about it. I saw Sean Thinking Anon was talking about this in the chat before. I'm going to play this. This is from Joe Biden's, I guess you could say, rally out in Pittsburgh. This is 18 seconds, and this is, I'm going to play it a couple of times because it's absolutely hilarious. Just watch the man try to talk.
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. I mean, you think about it. More lives this year than any other year for the past 100 years.
Let's do it again.
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. I mean, you think about it. More lives this year than any other year for the past 100 years.
Spit it out, Joe. Spit it out. And this clip it's viral. It has it's thousands and thousands of views. And it's just Trump weighed in on this and Don Trump Jr. weighed on this. But I want you guys to see just how pathetic and just really how sad this man is. And I'm starting to hate Joe Biden's wife, because how can she let this man do this? Look at where they were here in this gymnasium. This wasn't even a gymnasium. This looked like some factory out in Pittsburgh that just looked run down. This is from Tim Young. This is a real picture of Biden's speech in Pittsburgh today. Again, why did he need to leave his basement for this? He read off a teleprompter and took no questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 reporters and so-called journalists in this rally. Absolutely pathetic. It looks terrible. And I'm really starting to feel bad for this guy at this point, because how long can you keep this charade going? How long can you keep it going? And if you wanted to see something that was even more pathetic, you're going to see the supporters out here that were actually out in force for Joe Biden at this rally. They had to listen on their phones because they couldn't see him in person, because Joe Biden wants to keep up the COVID social distancing rules. Look at this. Look how sad and pathetic this is. Yeah. It's really bad. And I want to play one more here. This one right here. This is good.
Okay, could you talk to me about what brought you here and what motivates you to wear the donkey head?
Well, we are passionately behind Joe Biden and saving our democracy. And my friend who couldn't be here, who made the donkey head with a lot of love, I just thought it was a good way to be present.
I could swear that she said we are cautiously behind supporting Joe Biden while she's wearing this atrocious, it looks like a horse head, this donkey head. And I don't know. I think I have some self-esteem left of me in my 30 years of age. For me to do something like this, I would have to lose a bet, or just, I don't know. I'd be probably planning on ending my life in a week if I was caught wearing something like this. It's just really, really sad seeing all this. And the support, who was supporting this? And some of the people there were actually Trump supporters. There to maybe cause, I don't know, to show some I don't know why they were there. I don't know why you would show up to anything like that, but it was really sad to see. But there was a clip here from the president talking about Joe Biden, and he said something that was that caught everyone's attention, talking about Joe Biden and everything going on with these riots. I'm going to play it real quick, and we're going to transition gears here in just a moment. But I want you guys to see this in case you didn't see it yesterday from Fox. It was something that was pretty eyebrow raising, and we're going to hear it right now.
I'd like to mention Biden because he's not controlling anything.
Who do you think is pulling Biden's strings? Is it former Obama
people
officials?
That you've never heard of, people that are in the dark shadows, people that...
What does that mean? That sounds like conspiracy theory, dark shadows.
No,
what is
people that you haven't heard of. They're people that are on the streets. They're people that are controlling the streets. We had somebody get on a plane from a certain city this weekend, and in the plane, it was almost completely loaded with thugs wearing these dark uniforms, black uniforms with gear and this and that. They're on a plane.
Where's this?
I'll tell you sometime, but it's under investigation right now. But they came from...
Yo, but he actually said this. People in the shadows, people's names you'd never heard of. And when he said that, it reminded me when Q talks about when they talk about the pictures that they post on the cue boards, they say, I'm paraphrasing here, they say sometimes the people that are in the background and people that have kind of the side face or they're turned around, sometimes those people have more significance than the people that you can actually identify in the picture, because some of these people, like he said, you've never heard of. They hide in the shadows. And of course, she goes right to conspiracy theory, and he goes, no. He's like, we'll have to go into it at some time, but this is real. He's talking about the deep state, and he didn't say Obama officials. He didn't go there, even though some of them may be part of this, but we may never know. But he knows. And if he doesn't know, his team certainly does if it's being investigated. But I thought that was really interesting that Trump would go there and he would bring up words like dark shadows and people you have never heard of. And those are the people that are so high up in this chain where their hands are on any of this. They have all their minions and all the people underneath them that do all these things. They have their hands off, and this is how they do it. They stay hands off and they continue to pull the strings. But he did mention that, and I thought that was really interesting. So why all this change? Why all these narrative changes? Why is Biden and Kamala changing their whole entire approach to the protests and all these things? It's very simple. And the reason why I keep talking about in the title here, 63 Days Till Freedom. This came out from the Gateway Pundit, and this pretty much was almost a confession by the Democratic Party saying they're going to cheat with ballots from the mailbox. Look at this. Democrat data. This is again Gateway Pundit. Firm says Trump landslide likely on election day, but will be flipped to Biden by mail-in votes emerging a week after election. A top Democrat data, and you have to look at that. This is a Democrat data. A top Democrat data and analytics firm funded by Michael Bloomberg claimed it is highly likely, and again funded by Michael Bloomberg, claimed it is highly likely that President Trump will win by a landslide on election night, but will ultimately lose in the following days after mail-in ballots continue to be counted. Hawkfish CEO Josh Mendelson called the Democrat mail-in voting fraud operation deployed to steal the election post-election day a red mirage in his interview with Axios and HBO. We are sounding an alarm and saying that this is very a real possibility that the data is going to show on election night an incredible victory for Donald Trump. They are pretty much saying, ladies and gentlemen, if we are going to go through this mail-in ballot bullshit that the Democrats plan on doing, Trump will win on election night within a landslide. But with all the fake ballots and all the the Republican votes just ending up on the floor, disappearing, mail carriers throwing them in the garbage, once all that gets settled out and we get as much fake ballots from the Democrats as we can, it's going to come out that Trump is actually going to lose in the following weeks when we actually count all the mail ballots. That is exactly what these people are saying. And they're essentially saying, yeah, we have to cheat to win. This is coming from a Democrat data and analytics firm funded by Michael Bloomberg, who was an opponent of Trump's at one point. They're coming out and the one saying this. This isn't a Trump-backed firm. This is a Democrat firm that said this. It came out today. This is how they're saying it. This isn't us anymore. They're certain that Trump is going to landslide. And it's encouraging, but at the same time, I'm hoping that we talked about that blockchain technology with voting. I'm hoping something is going to come out just in time before the election to stop this fraud. But if you don't think Biden doesn't know this, he absolutely does. He knows he's tanking. He knows he's tanking, and we saw another report here from Rasmussen talking about this, especially from the black vote. Nobody was expecting this. We were. Not the rest of the sheep, though. From Rasmussen reports on Twitter, several other recent polls have found steady support for Trump from black voters. Black voters pushing Trump to victory with support for Biden is 15 points down. And again, the article here was from the Washington Examiner talking about this. And the black vote for Trump is essentially way higher than was being predicted by any of these polls. And I wonder why. Maybe because Joe Biden was saying, if you ain't black, you're voting for Trump. Maybe black businesses being burned down. Maybe Black Lives Matter protests being overtaken by communist Antifa. Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe Trump has been the president. I'm just spitballing here. Maybe Trump has been a president that's completely backed the African American community and done the most for African Americans in any president's tenure. Maybe that's why African Americans want to vote for Trump, and they don't want Joe Biden, who's been there for 5 decades, who hasn't done shit for African Americans and actually made terrible laws for African Americans and the racist things he spewed. It's all over YouTube. You can find it in his career. It's a long, uneventful, terrible career from Joe Biden. People are wondering, do you think they care about the people? Is this why they're changing? Nope. It is not. Because again, we saw it in the beginning of the show with Nancy Pelosi. These people don't give a shit about you. They will look at you in the face and tell you to put your chain on. Take away your identity. Close the spas down. They don't care about us. They will do what they want because this is again about power. It's all about power and who controls the White House. So they can continue on living in the corrupt cesspool that they've built in DC, and Trump is cleaning it up. And again, why he's going to win on November 3rd. So just to get some news out of the way that I want to talk about real quick, not going to dive into this. Everybody and their mom knows about this. The CDC dropped a report saying that 6% of coronavirus deaths were solely from COVID-19. And it was about, I think it was 9,920 deaths. We don't even have to look at the chart. The number of deaths is up to like 160 something thousand. It could be off, but that was the number including COVID deaths and other morbidities, I think it's called, which means they had obesity, they had cancer, they had some other outlying condition besides COVID, but they died with COVID, but they were still blaming COVID on that. But when they broke it down, just to COVID deaths alone, it was 6%. And we know those numbers are even worse because of what happened with the nursing homes. All these numbers are stacked. And the worst part about it was, this was actually being censored on Twitter and Facebook. The data from the CDC was being censored on Twitter. And I think Mel Q was the woman that put out the tweet that got retweeted by Trump and was immediately suspended. It's funny. YouTube and all these other places, they're all about backing the CDC and the WHO. And if it doesn't fit the narrative, they will actually censor these organizations that they stand for. They will censor their information, and that does not go along with it. It's absolutely disgusting. And exactly why I believe that one of the big reasons why the riot started was because of this number right here that came out. And this came out quietly. And now it's all over the place. And now Facebook's they're already on top of it. The censor police are out there. They're already deleting pictures. I started building a following on Instagram because my Facebook got taken down, and they're censoring those pictures on the as well, with Trump holding a 6% sign up. So there you go, people. Everyone's lives were ruined for 6%, and it's probably even less of COVID deaths. So there you go. Other news that I need to update everybody about while we wrap up the show here from Technofog. A General Flynn update, which is absolutely god-awful. We need to keep this man in prayer. Flynn update. Here's the order denying the mandamus. The case goes back to Judge Sullivan. The opinion ends with these words: we expect the district court to proceed with appropriate dispatch. And I think this was another update. Judge Sullivan has effectively pushed back the resolution of the Flynn case until after the election. Ordered a status report with briefing scheduled by September 21st. This will include a proposal oral argument date. This is a loss, ladies and gentlemen. This is a loss. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. The deep state got what they wanted out of this. I've been saying it since the beginning that this whole entire thing with Judge Sullivan, this isn't about Judge Sullivan actually believing he's doing the right thing, which he might go out and say in the press. He's an Obama-appointed judge. They, out of anything else, they did not want General Flynn on the campaign trail with Trump, because how bad would that look for this entire Russia narrative and the Democrats? How bad would this look that this man's career and reputation was ruined? He was bankrupted. His family had to sell his house. His family got dragged through the mud, and especially this man here, General Flynn, an American hero. He lost the appeals case. It's now going back to Judge Sullivan. And on top of it, they're going to push this case past the election. This was done on purpose. To me, this was the main motivation from the get-go about what they were doing. They did not want General Flynn. They did not want Trump having this win. But it's not all discouraging, because at some point there is going to be justice, and the gag order is going to be taken off Flynn, and he's going to go scorch earth with Trump. Regardless, Trump gets reelected. He gets another 4 years. The whole entire Flynn thing will get taken care of in those 4 years. I hope to God. But he needs to be kept in prayer because this fight is still ongoing and he's got to go through another round with it with Sidney Powell, which is absolutely mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. And last thing, before I get to the last tweet that I want to talk about tonight, Facebook is now putting out these notices talking about, hey, on October 1st, we're updating our terms of service. Anyone that has a Facebook now needs to be on notice. We also can remove or restrict access to your content, services, or information if we determine that doing so is reasonably necessary to avoid or mitigate adverse legal or regulatory impacts to Facebook. They are literally saying, with the coming changes that we probably are going to expect in this Section 230 law that's going to hold us liable, for future reference, we're going to also delete any content that may in the future harm us. So we're going to continue to be exactly what we said. Zuckerberg said to Congress multiple times, we are not going to be the arbiters of truth. Translation, we are going to be the arbiters of truth, and we're going to further censor you because we are going to protect our best interests, and we're going to shit on your First Amendment rights. Don't care, deal with it. If you don't like it, get off our platform. That's essentially what they're saying, and that's going on October 1st. So have fun with that. Have fun with that. But where I want to close off tonight is this right here. My boy Thinking Anon, I love this tweet. I retweeted it the other night. He's in the chat. He is the hammer. He kills the trolls. He's really good at it too. I saw this tweet and it perfectly described what this movement's all about. He says, I support my black friends, but not BLM. I support my white friends, but not the KKK. I don't support hate groups. Skin color doesn't mean shit. You're either a good person or not. End of story. I thought that was a perfect tweet. And thank you, Sean, for putting this out there. I don't care what skin color you are. Does not matter to me. If you're a legal citizen here, you were born here, I don't care what skin color you are. You're an American in my eyes. It's not about skin color, especially in this movement, as bad as the mainstream media wants to paint this on us. We are accepting of all colors, all races. If you love this country and you're all about our country's values, Second Amendment rights, free speech, you're good in my book. You want to erase that, you want to destroy that, I'm not about that life. And as you guys just saw in this video, the black vote is up for Trump, and I have to assume the Latino Mexican vote is going to be up for Trump as well, because he's just bringing jobs left and right, and it's just so amazing to see. And Sean, you nailed it, man. You nailed it. Skin color doesn't mean shit. And when I say 63 days till freedom, I saw some people in the chat getting all bent out of shape about it. Do you really think right after the election things are going to go back to normal? Come on, man. No, I don't. I don't think things are just going to magically go back to normal. I know that. But I think once the election is said and done, a lot of this is going to go away relatively fast. And we're going to be hopefully going into somewhat normalized without masks, without the social distancing, the whole entire lingo that goes with it, with the mask and the 6 feet and washing your hands and all this stuff that's going, not that washing your hand is bad, but everything that goes along with the lingo of this entire COVID crisis, because it's going to be carried into at least November, maybe to the end of the year. De Blasio already told the teachers in New York City that they're delaying the school year. This is going to get pushed into November and on, and hopefully it's going to end then. But I'm hoping 63 days, we're going to get our fearless leader back in for another 4 years, and we're going to do damage. And it's going to be really fantastic. So thank you guys for joining. If you can, before you leave, go hit the like button on this episode, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let everyone know we are the news now. Check out my Patreon for all my diehard fans here. Hopefully it'll load here. Let's see what happens here. It looks like it's loading, but that's okay. While that's loading, you guys, I have some brand new products here that were made by Bruce and my brother, who are both in the chat here. We have Where We Go One, we go all hoodies, hooded t-shirts, v-necks, and t-shirts. And my brother just made the brand new Fake News Network cup. And of course, the 2 brand new water bottle, Yeti style water bottles, 32 ounces. Where We Go One, we go all, and the Punisher. And you can get them in red or black. And I think there's some other colors that were added. So we added a bunch of fresh shirts, fresh cups, and all that good stuff here. And there's about 7 more pages of products that you guys can go check out. And it's all supporting 2 local businesses out here in New York. And it's supporting this channel, allows me to do this full time so I can bring you guys content almost on a daily basis. And it's a huge, huge help right now. It's saving businesses, and it's showing absolute support. So go check out the store, guys, on your way out, and do all that good stuff. And again, check out pilled.net, sign up for a free account. They are now live streaming on their platform. We did it tonight. No problems as far as I know. No frame skip. Bit rate stayed the same. And I think we got close to 3,000 viewers. So thank you guys. Hit that like button and all that good stuff. So as I always say, guys, stay safe, stay warm, and stay woke. Good night, everybody.
Please join Pilled.net's